I've heard the Legion's planning to unleash their best men against us.
You don't look like the rest of these wannabes. You must be the one Coleridge told me about. I called you here because I wanted to thank you for helping get justice for my daughter. Hosea's victims must have been many. I hear you worked with her in one of my stores, the Freeside Co-op. I also hear you're responsible for bringing her killers to justice. Don't you worry, I pay you well enough. I'm sure Coleridge's lackey paid you a decent sum of caps too. Here, an extra 500 caps on top of your already generous sum. This was originally meant to buy furnishings for the co-op. Was supposed to go towards getting a great big fancy sign from that snooty prick Angelo just down the road. You deserve it more than that, charlatan. Now, I'd like to be left alone to gather my thoughts, if you don't mind. So, if you have any last questions, please make them quick. Not from the NCR, then. Can tell because there's not a man alive there who doesn't know to respect or fear me. You worked with my daughter before those animals killed her. They're lucky you got to them before I got my hands on them. I would have shown them the real meaning of pain. Hurt them in ways that they wouldn't even believe was possible. By the end, I would have had them wishing for death. That is who I am. You wouldn't know him. He's one of those spineless bureaucrats in the Senate who couldn't organize an orgy in a fucking brothel. When my caravans were first attacked by those raider fucks, I politely asked Coleridge to solve the problem. When his incompetence got my daughter butchered, I told him the truth of the situation. I mentioned that my donations to his re-election campaign might somehow find their way in the pot of his opponent. And thus, the caps were found for a contractor. Yeah, I saw him in the foyer, and he offered me his condolences. Odd for him to show such compassion. We're rivals, after all. I've been led to believe that his son went missing in this very restaurant. Perhaps he's looking for a gun for hire. Despite our differences in the past, I wouldn't wish the death of a man's child on anyone. I hope young Ted is all right. I made a deal with these white glove freaks. I own one of the biggest cattle ranches back west. So does Gunderson. I reminded them that centralizing your source of meat when your main delicacy is Brahmin Wellington would not be the brightest idea. Who knows? We may be able to make a deal in the future if the terms are right. It'll be shut down for now while we make the funeral arrangements for Ella. We'll bring her back to the Republic. Her mother deserves to see her daughter one last time. I don't want my little girl to remain in this hellhole 1 minute longer. As for Vegas, I have a right mind to up my share of the take. Make these bastards pay for the funeral. You offer your hand to help and they'd rather side with raiders. Coleridge said the locals were unwilling to help in finding Hosea. maybe I'll be unwilling to help them in return.
Very well. Thanks again.
I've heard that